Good morning, and here he is. This is Bumble from Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer. So I went ahead and made him, and he's made with the fish bowls, the little one for his face and the big one for his body. So these are some of the things that you're going to need, and some of it I've pre-done just to make this video go a little bit quicker. Sometimes watching a long video, people get tired of it, but I just free-handed his little hands and feet, and that's what I used for his pattern. And I went ahead and cut it out with my machine, and I Mod Podged them and glittered them with let's see what color it is. It actually doesn't say, but it's just a dark blue glitter, and set them off to dry. And I went ahead and did his face. They're done with two of the markers came from the Dollar Tree. These are the ones that you can write on the plastic bulbs with, and it's the silver and the white. And I used a black paint marker for the rest of it, and I just kind of free-handed his face, and that's what it kind of looks like. And let's see what else. You're going to need some loopy chenille. This is going to take about a whole package. This is what's left out of a package. So it's going to take about a whole package. You're going to need some red felt and some fur and a pom-pom for his hat. I have videos on how to make the Santa hats, and I went ahead and pre-made his hat. You're going to need two little pieces. They're about 1.25 inches of the styrofoam rod. This is for his legs to make them stand off of the body just a little bit. You're going to need some E6000 and of course your hot glue gun. The only one that I actually glittered on the bowls was the top one, and that was because if you look at all the pictures of him online and stuff, you'll see that they're around the eyes and stuff are blue. My blue paint markers did not show up on the glass very well. It was very see-through, and so I went with the silver. But if you take and put the dark blue behind it, it kind of gives it a blue tint to it. So I went ahead and just did the top in the glitter. And we'll set that off to dry for just a second. And pop any bubbles. And his body is going to be completely covered in the loopy chenille. So just tap out any excess. I kind of tipped his head up a little bit, or his face. Instead of doing it more on a level If you can see that, you can see it's kind of tipped backwards just a little bit. Not much, but just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and start with his feet and kind of put everything, all the pieces together. But you're going to take the loopy chenille and wrap his feet, or his legs, sorry. And you're just going to do a little bit. Just hold it there until it cools. And if you have a low temp gun, it would be better than a really, really high temp, because working with the loopy chenille, your fingers tend to get hot. Just wrap it around, get your measurement. Just hold it in place until it cools. And when I made his feet, I actually I set this down on the paper because I wanted his feet to be as wide as this is, so that when you put it on, it kind of all lines up. Just like that. So you have one that way. And you'll have one that way. Set them off to cool. And for his arms and hands, I just took a section, kind of however long you want it, and just cut 2 pieces. And where I stuck them on the skewer to paint them and dry them, you have a little hole there. So what you're going to do is pull the loopy chenille down and find that wire, and you're going to push that wire up into the hand, right in that hole. And then you can fluff the loopy back around it, so you have his arm. So you're going to find that wire. it right up in that hole. Push it up in there, and then you can fluff the loopy back around it. And if you have any pieces like that are not looped or anything, you can just go back and trim them up just to make it look better. And you're going to need a lint roller just to pick up any of those loose little pieces where you're cutting, just to keep them out of your way. When you put his feet on, make sure you do a left and a right. And you're going to need some E6000. The E6000 takes a while to set up, so I put the E6000 in the middle. Just kind of spread it around. And I put a little bit of hot glue just to hold it in place, and decide where you want to put his feet. Just hold it there until it cools a little bit, and do the next one. And a little bit of hot glue, top and bottom, just to hold it in place until the E6000 sets. And put his little leg and foot on. And you're going to have a gap right here in the middle. So all you're going to do is take a little piece of loopy chenille, about a 2-inch piece, and you're going to run your hot glue right down the middle, and you're going to put that right in there. And fluff your loopy chenille back up. And that'll cover the little spot from you seeing the glass. And then go back and just trim up any. So far you have his legs and his feet on. And now you're going to start wrapping his body. So just take your loopy chenille, and starting right at the bottom, from one leg to the other, you're just going to measure around the bottom of the bowl and cut it. And starting on one side or the other, you're just going to glue a pretty good section, starting right up against the leg. You're just going to stick the loopy chenille into the glue and hold it until it cools. And then just bend it up out of your way and go the other direction. Just fold it over and hold it in place. until it cools. And you're going to do that all the way up his body. So just measure the next section. And remember, this is loopy, so you don't have to stack it like really close on top of each other. You can kind of give it a little bit of a gap because the loops will fill it in. So just go right about there. Put your good little bit of glue, starting right up against the leg. Just get it close enough that it'll fill in, just like that, next to it. Hold it until it cools. Just bend it up out the way. Do the next section. Bend it over and hold it in place. Bend it up. And about the third row going up his body, you should be able to clear his legs and go right around the body. So set him back down. On your next pass, like I said, you should be able to clear his feet and legs and go all the way around his body. So starting in the back, you can see I'm not right up next to it. Put it on there and hold it until it cools. Do the next little section. Just wrap it around. Hold it until it cools. And just keep going all the way around till you get to the other side, or till you meet up in the back. And you're going to keep doing it all the way up to his neck. So just make your next pass through or round. Again, you can go back and clean up any that are starting in the back. Now your next go around should go right up the neck and a piece of his face. Again, just trim up any little pieces that are hanging off of him. Again, starting at the back. Again, just give him a little haircut. And this is what you should have. Just like that. And his body is all covered with his little legs. At this point, you can take his arms and decide how you want them, where you want them. And if you feel like you've cut it too long, his arms are too long, you can trim up the end of it and just decide how you want them. And put a good generous amount. And they'll be kind of floppy, but that's a good thing. You can pose him, change him, raise his hands, lower his hands, just however you want it, and just glue him to the side and kind of fluff it back up. And then go ahead and put the other one on. Pull off any little glue spider webs, and that's what you have. And like I said, you can pose them, you can just however you want to do them. Now we're going to put on his hat, and you just glue it to the top just like all the rest of them. I'm going to glue the front first. Spin them around. And glue the back. And now you're going to wrap his face. And you're just going to take and do like a semi circle or a U shape, however you want to say it, and frame out his face. And you're going to want to go from the neck up to the hat and down the other side. Show you this way. You're going to go right around his face, up around the hat, and down the other side. And glue it in place. Didn't get this one, I don't think, quite far enough with the glue. I'll just stick a little bit in there. Now for his piece that goes this way, you're going to measure what you need, and you can either leave it loopy or you can do like I did and cut the loops off to thin it down so that you can see a portion of his mouth, and because if you see it, it kind of fills everything up. So I just took it and trimmed the loop just a little bit all the way around. Just kind of gave him a little haircut. And glued it right across his face from side to side. Just hold it in place until it sets or cools. And now you're just going to wrap from side to side. So you're just going to measure from side to side. As you can see, it makes a mess. So I go about halfway. Just hold it till it sets. Spin them around and do the other half. Again, you don't have to put these so close because they are loopy, so it kind of fills in gaps. So just hold it till it cools for just a minute and do the next layer. And it should take about 3 layers to do his head. So just go halfway. Hold it until it cools. Bend it up and do the other half. And the last little bit. Just go from one side to the other. Hold it until it sets and spin it around and do the other half. And then you can go back and give him a little haircut, straighten him out. You can pose his hands, his arms, and the last thing I do is fold his little hat over and glue it down. Just squash it a little bit, just however you want to pose him. And if you find that you didn't cut off enough on his little mustache or whatever, you can go back and trim him up. And there you have your Bumble. Isn't he cute? Thank you for watching my video.